Sawadee Cup and welcome to another episode of the Funkit Pod. It's the weekend and you know what it means. Wrestling time. Wrestling Wednesday on the weekend. And of course there has again been a lot of wrestling to discuss this past week. Storytelling wise obviously. And we as always start with AEW and then we jump to WWE, even though timeline wise we could do WWE first, but then AEW and then back to WWE. So let's start with A-dubs and then we go back to the E. Alright, so AEW, Dynamite and Rampage, Dynamite on Wednesday, Rampage on Friday, but you know the deal. And of course it was like all about Brody Lee in his hometown, and it was nice, of course, like all those Brody Lee memories and all those Brody Lee, signs and hand movements, of course, and so on. That was just very cool to see, and I dare you to not become emotional there. The first match was Jungle Boy versus Adam Cole, baby, and it was cool. And again, I'm not criticizing the matches per se. I'm more like looking to the storytelling aspect here in this podcast, and so match quality was, of course, really good. Adam Cole didn't pull out all the stops just yet, in my opinion, but he did what he had to do, and then winning via a low blow while he's like basically covering the ref, and then just like a low blow, the mule kick to the back, was just smart, heelish, and he did what he had to do, and it's totally fair enough. Jungle Boy, of course, great showing. Storytelling wise, he's just showing more of his evolution. I believe that he's really like a force to be reckoned with, but maybe that he's also like still a little bit too green to hang with the super top guys there. Jungle Boy, Jack Perry, that is. Adam Cole again, just ring smart, savvy veteran, and pulls off the victory with a mule kick. So that was I think. So at first I thought, I'm not the biggest fan of this, but when you think about it, storytelling wise again, because Adam Cole is the heel, clear heel, of course, with the super click and so on, and it just makes sense. Then again, so the low blow and then the boom, and then he finished Jungle Boy. So that's fine. And it, of course, leads to more down the road because they're definitely not finished yet. Also later down the road, and then also on Friday, we have the click, the super click, the elite facing with like deep, I was about to say deep, right? The American Dragon and then Jurassic Express and so on. So that makes sense. I'm happy with the match. I'm happy with the stories involved. I'm happy that Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, Christian, that it's not just like it looked random in the beginning, but now they kind of stick together. Like they help each other out. They help the American Dragon out, Bryan Danielson. So okay, I'm for it. Good job. That was fun. And then we had Bryan Danielson on the mic, and I think he's good at the mic, right? But then he fell back into WWE territory or WWE style, like calling Kenny Omega Kenny No Balls because he didn't want to have a rematch right away. And going like Kenny No Balls. That was just ridiculously stupid. That's like Vince McMahon stuff. Bridie, as Booker T would say. That was annoying. That was not good. I didn't like it. Sticking with things that I don't like, and oh my god, I'm criticizing 2 things in a row on AEW. Oh my god, Tony Khan's gonna stop sending me checks. Oh wait, Cody Rhodes with another Hulk Hogan-esque entrance. And Lee Johnson, who of course doesn't get his own music because it's Cody Rhodes, versus Dante Martin and Matt Sydal. And Dante Martin, man, CM Punk on commentary, he almost proposed to Dante Martin. HLE, April, his wife, should be worried. CM Punk has a huge crush on Dante Martin. Understandably so, though, because what this guy is doing is just ridiculous, and of course a great match pairing with Matt Sydal, like super high flyer, of course. But as we all know, thanks to JR, he's also mixing up on the mat now. That was a fun match. Storytelling wise, why did it happen? I don't know. Maybe I wasn't in the loop, but that came out of nowhere. Like, how did they get paired up? Those teams? Do they have beef with each other? I don't know. It was just, but maybe it's just AW being like, hey. It's like in the NBA. We put the best teams, random teams, to face each other. So that Cody Rhodes match, Cody Rhodes, Lee Johnson team. I mean, yeah, the Nightmare Family, and of course they can all team with each other, but it came out of nowhere. Of course, Rhodes and Johnson taking the victory. The story here, of course, however, was that Arn Anderson got really upset at Cody Rhodes, and then that was one of the wackest, lamest promos on AEW ever. Like Arn Anderson in the ring, like Arn Anderson, hey, tone it down, and then he's just like Cody Rhodes, blah blah blah, and you're a loser, and I don't want to train losers, and he's like, Lee, let's go, and then him and Lee Johnson just walked out on Cody Rhodes. So that match just had them win to tell Arn Anderson, Cody Rhodes that they're losers. Huh? That's like WWE kind of stuff. Like what? Also, Cody Rhodes was, I don't like him, right? But he was, from a storyline perspective, trying to protect Arn Anderson. So why would Arn Anderson be mad at him now? I mean, he's like, yeah, in my time, I would have looked at my trainer, I would have gone after him, I would have killed him. He's like, great example, like great metaphor Arn Anderson is using is like, if someone pulls up on your car and wants to steal your car, you just let him take your car. I would just pull out my Glock and would splash his brain all over the place. What the that was terrible. I hated it. I'm sorry. Arn Anderson, Cody Rhodes thing is just, I mean, I know he's a legend, but I mean, Ric Flair's a legend too. Do you want to see him like doing promos? No. So, do you want to see Hulk Hogan? No. That was terrible. Then we had Jon Moxley, Eddie Kingston, Darby Allin versus Bear Country and Anthony Green, sticking with the theme of what? And it was a decent match. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Bear Country, but it was a decent match, and I didn't know who Anthony Green was. It was a decent match. It was fun for what it was. Of course, Moxley, Kingston, Darby Allin win, but I mean, this could have been like anyone. So there was no storytelling. There's no reason that they're fighting. There's nothing that comes from it. Then the highlight at the end was that they then pull up like, what's his name, Anthony Green, and then Sting comes in and just hits a Scorpion Death Drop on Anthony Green for like whatever. I mean, the best thing was probably that Kingston was like, I had a Brody Lee sign in his hand at the end because it was nice, but there was. This AEW Dynamite show, we're going into WWE, their territory. Followed by a hair versus hair match. Not yet. I got ahead of myself. We had the setup for the hair versus hair match, of course. We had a Dark Order and Orange Cassidy versus the Hardy Family Office. And it was just like, I mean, this broke down, and then the Dark Order, of course, Evil Uno and so on, he wanted to leave, but then John Huber's wife came out and like, no, you can't do that. And then they all reunited in the name of Brody Lee, of course, and then beat down the HFO. So that's a feel-good moment at the end. I can appreciate that. -1 was in there as well, and in the end, of course, celebrating. So I can appreciate that. That's a feel-good moment. That makes sense. And then we had Tay-J. The fantastic tag team of Tay-J versus the Bunny and Penelope Ford. The Bunny is creepy. Of course, Tay-J defeated them. Again, the storytelling in the women's division is not always that great. It's like, I don't like you, bitch. I don't like you, bitch. Okay, let's fight. Yeah. They should have, I don't know, more time, maybe also for character development and so on. Not sure. Then eventually we got a promo that was good because it was by MJF, and MJF is better at promos than anybody else, and you know it. And he cut the promo on Darby Allin, and Darby Allin's like, if you're trying to break me, MJF, it's not gonna work. Talk, MJF, talk. And Darby Allin was unfazed by MJF's promo. So, but now we know what's next for MJF and for Darby Allin. This should be fun. Eventually then we came to the main event, the TNT Championship match between Sammy Guevara and the Redeemer Miro. And you know it by now, Sammy Guevara pulled it off, of course. That was cool. Congratulations. totally fucks up the story of Miro, the undefeatable, the unbeatable Redeemer. I think Miro lost the championship too fast. If you go for like the Redeemer, God's favorite champion, and then you just because Sammy is over as. I mean, I understand because Sammy is over, especially with the young guys, young kids, I assume, and with Fuego del Sol. But I mean, okay, it was of course Miro being stupid because then he pulled up the turnbuckles to hurt Sammy, but then he got hurt himself, of course, because it's always the case. The guy who sets up the spot gets hurt by the spot, obviously. It was a good match. The storytelling in the match, like Sammy Guevara is resilient, doesn't get put away, always able to just amp up more, and then it's eventually hit the GTH. And then the 630 Senton for the victory. Yeah, but like I said, now it negates the Redeemer gimmick, basically. It was too fast to lose for Miro, in my opinion. It's the first real challenger he's facing. Okay, Lance Archer, but the first real challenger, and then he loses. Like, that was a bit weak. Sorry, AW. Sorry, Tony. It was a good match, though. The match was fun, but it's just the story. I'm not a big fan of this. So let's keep going with the stories. Then when AW Rampage started with Bryan Danielson versus Nick Jackson. That was fun. That was a great match. Nick Jackson being heelish with, of course, his stooges out there was fun. But of course, Bryan Danielson eventually pulled it off with a very nice submission hold in the end. Cattle mutilation, that's how they call it, right? That was pretty cool, showing that he can do many things. Also, what was pretty cool is that Danielson showed like he's not, like I said last time, he's not a clear-cut babyface, right? So he was like Nick Jackson was like kicking him like with the yes kicks, and he was just taking them. Then he got up and then he just spits in Nick Jackson's face. Like, that's not a babyface move. And then he just unloads on him with like kicks and drops and kicks and drops and kicks and drops. So I like that he's not the super mega clean cut babyface, and maybe that shows us something that he's gonna slowly go into that CM Punk back then tweener role of just like, I just do anything to win. So why not? The match was good, of course. Then afterwards, the Elite came, but before anything could happen, Lucha Express came, Christian in Bryan Danielson's corner, and then of course it all broke loose, and then Bryan Danielson and the Jungle Boy hit their respective submissions on Kenny Omega and Adam Cole, and they both tapped out at the same time. Yeah, nice. The story is fine. I'm all with it because that just leads to more down the road, right? So that completely makes sense so far. Jade Cargill versus Thunder Rosa versus I was about to say Nia Jackson, Nyla Rose. Sorry. Jade Cargill just beating the living shit out of Thunder Rosa. Like, it was brutal. Like, she grabbed the chair, right, and she was just like unloading on Thunder Rosa, and just also shows that Jade Cargill goes to all the lengths and does everything that she has to do to win. So the match wasn't that great, but from a storytelling point of view, it at least pushed the narrative further, that like Jade Cargill just does whatever she has to do to actually get the win. And then we had the WWE main event: Orange Cassidy versus Jack Evans, hair versus hair. That's just, those stipulations are just so stupid. And then, of course, before they had Mark Henry interview Orange Cassidy and Jack Evans, like split screen. And it's like, it's a hair. And Orange Cassidy's like, what? Mark Henry tells him, like, if you lose your hair. And Orange Cassidy, well, then I'm not going to lose. And then funny, but the match was fine again. And of course, like in the end, and Jack Evans is distracted with the referee, and then Orange Cassidy with the orange punch. The match was fine. Jack Evans is awesome, of course, in the ring. So is Orange Cassidy. But the story like behind, like, oh my God, he's cutting hair. Wrestlers, you punch each other in the face for a living. Like, that's what you're trying to portray. And then you're like, oh no, it's my hair. That's just so WWE, and I thought we don't see that in AEW. That was just really annoying. And in the end, like, of course, Dark Order, everyone comes into the ring to celebrate. Like, first the HFO comes out, and then more of the HFO come out, but then the Dark Order builds like a wall around between the ring and the ramp so that Orange Cassidy can finish the fight. That's kind of nice storytelling wise, because then they all came together in the ring and then they all celebrate, and Negative One is there again. It's like a fake mustache on, celebrate, and in the end they do like the group hug. That's of course what everybody wanted to see. That was nice. So that story wise was nice, but like for the long term storytelling here, nothing much to see. And like a hair versus hair is just like what the not that, but the matches were good. So it's just like the stories behind those matches are not that exciting this week. There's 1 week where I'm not hating, but where I'm like criticizing AEW a little bit more than usual. I might think. You would think, hey, now WWE probably takes the cake, and they like in a positive way, they actually take the cake. Like, yes, but of course you can always count on WWE to fuck things up even more, because SmackDown and the draft. What the fuck? I don't even want to. Let's talk about it in a second. But okay, first SmackDown and the draft, right? So first of all, the drafting thing. I remember when I was a kid and I watched the drafts back then, it was at least kind of like surprising, and they like made an event out of it. But now they just announce it, and you're not the NFL, so that's like, it's like, okay, Raw or SmackDown drafts Roman Reigns. Oh, hey, surprise! Ooh. Raw drafts Big E. Wow, who would have thought that? It's lame AF, like super lame. The only cool thing was Roman Reigns in the ring, and then of course Brock Lesnar coming out. I can't believe I'm saying in 2021 the only cool thing is Brock Lesnar surprising Roman Reigns. Brock Lesnar, and of course Brock Lesnar sent Roman Reigns and the Usos to Suplex City. So that was fun. Besides that, honestly, I did lots of fast forwarding there. I mean, we had Happy Corbin with like his stooge, like what's it called, Madcap Moss. That must be something that Vince McMahon came up with. Of course, he defeats Kevin Owens by laughing the whole time, hysterically laughing. It's so stupid. Oh my God. Seth Rollins broke into Edge's house. You know, it would have been cool in the Attitude Era, because you would have thought anything can happen. But we're not in the Attitude Era, so you know nothing's going to happen. And Edge calling his wife Beth, like, hey, don't go home. Yeah, fine, but nothing really happened. So nothing, he was looking at some children's pictures. Nothing really happened. Very annoying. Storytelling-wise, okay, like, yeah, it sets up that Rollins and Edge are going to collide again. But Edge said he's going to be on SmackDown last week. Now he's here and Rollins isn't there. And he's like breaking into his house, like, why? Psychological warfare? What for? Like, yeah, I mean, so okay, I get the psychological thing, but it's just a repeat of like what we've seen like 1,000 times, break into someone's home. Then we had Carmella attacking Liv Morgan before the bell started, showing that Carmella is afraid and she wants to beat her down before. I don't know. So the match never started. That feud continues. Not sure if I want to see it continue though. We had the New Day and the Street Profits joining forces to defeat Chad Gable, Otis, Robert Roode, and Dolph Ziggler. Of course they did. That was fun, but storytelling-wise doesn't do anything, because eventually the New Day and the Street Profits, they have to collide, right? That's the one thing that has to happen, and maybe Chad Gable and Otis somehow in there. But Roode and Ziggler, and I'm a big Ziggler fan, and it's really sad that he's like in there, nothing to do. Yeah, but that doesn't drive any story, because I mean, the two babyface teams, the two heel teams, just for the sake of it. Then we had Sasha Banks back in action, the Boss versus Bianca Belair. And it was kind of funny, like, it was Becky Lynch on commentary, and then while Bianca Belair was like falling towards the ropes and then wants to get back up, but Becky just holds her hair and just leaning on it, like, so Sasha Banks can roll her up. That was awesome. That was kind of funny. It was a funny heel move by Becky, like, whoa. Nice. Those are those small things that make the man, and that's cool. Yeah. So those, it doesn't need to be anything big, and like that made sense, and that pushes the narrative. are Becky and Sasha somewhat on a level? No, but last time Sasha also laid out Becky, but now Becky helps Sasha just to mess with Bianca Belair. Cool. Yeah, that was kind of fun. Then also afterwards, Charlotte Flair lays down everything, and I hate Charlotte Flair. I mean, as the not as the person, I don't know her, but as like the character, right? Because she takes just everything, wins all the time. So then she just boots everyone in the face. Like, I'm at SmackDown now. So that's fair enough, I guess. Yeah, because she got drafted to SmackDown, she's like, I'm the king here. So all right, that now tells us that probably on Monday Becky gets drafted to Raw. But for this very moment, this was kind of fun. Okay, I thought about doing an Extreme Rules breakdown as well, but at Extreme Rules, there was no Extreme Rules. It was just rules, no rules. It was just average. There was one Extreme Rules match. It was which was the main event between Roman Reigns and the Demon, and they only call the Demon a Demon. I got so mad at this. I'm sorry, I got so mad at it. Like, he has a name. It's Finn Balor. He's still, but no, it's the Demon. And then, I mean, you all know how it ended, and like with the ropes being then sabotage. Probably, we still don't know. It's storytelling wise, okay, they want to keep the Demon undefeated, like for real, like not pinned. I mean, he got pinned, but because of the rope break, of course. But there should have been other ways to do this, because this was like lame. Until then, also it's like, and I saw lots of people hating on it, but the Demon like being resurrected and you see like the red light. I mean, it's the Demon, so I wasn't even that mad at it. But yeah, the overall story arc, and now, of course, they're moving on. They're moving on to like Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. So now, what's with Finn Balor? Like, you're just gonna ignore him now, or is it just gonna come back like after Crown Jewel? Like, hey, like when he got hurt the first time, like for real, and he's like, hey, actually, it was just an accident. So I should have another match with you, cause it's also lame, right? I don't know where this is going, and there's just the only long-term story, not even a story, the only long-term plan that they have is, it's not even long-term. It's like Brock versus Roman, and the rest, we're going to figure things out on the fly. It looks like it. And this is a little bit annoying. Okay, this is my rant. Apparently I'm in rant mode these days. You can see on my podcast on the Funkit Pod, I rant about everything this week. I promise next week's going to be more positivity. Positive vibes only. That's it for this week for the Wrestling Wednesday on the Funkit Pod. Let me know if you totally disagree with me, or if you agree, or just your thoughts in general. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe, follow @FunkitPod on social media, or if you have inquiries, ideas, suggestions, funkitpod@gmail.com. Don't forget, always kick out a 2. Until then, stay safe, take care, and I'll see and talk to you next time. Sawadee Cup.